1 second.
भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य सिंहाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नाम जोगे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल नायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
To continue.
25 people invited to
Everyone to
visit the directories and all, maybe 10.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to all my dear Bayview family. And also a warm welcome to Dr. Tushar Shah, who's amidst us today. Friends, loads of exciting announcements I have to make today. Friends, last Saturday, it was just last Saturday, that we, at our KBC fellowship, we spoke about launching the project for nurses, where we wanted to give wellness voucher, wellness hampers to nurses all over Bombay. Our and we were discussing about taking this forward in a crowdfunding way and reach out to as many nurses as we can. This is what we had discussed last Saturday. And friends, I'm very, very happy to announce that all this, with your support, has become a reality. This project has touched has touched the hearts of so many people of different walks of life, and I'm very, very happy to share that with the support of 38 members who are participating in the crowdfunding campaign, we have managed to get a funding of 12 lakh rupees, which is almost 70% of our goals, which is going to be like for giving wellness kits to 2,000 nurses. So great going, guys. Way to go, RCBB. Our honorary members, very happy to share that our honorary members, Mr. Sanjay Gupta, Sanjeevni Belande, and Dr. Jyoti Dabholkar are supporting this campaign, and they will be sending in their video bites, and they are going to be incorporated in the campaign soon. The project, another project of constructing of our check dams is going on full swing, and it should be over in another 15 days time. We have another project which has happened in the last week is distribution of ration hampers in Malwani slums to all the people in these difficult times. This means a lot. 5 Annapurnas have also happened in the last week. So great going, team, community service, awesome work. One more announcement from the district. The TRF seminar is scheduled for the Sunday, and we are co-hosts for this seminar. So guys, please do join in on Sunday. So friends, now moving forward with the meeting, uh, that we have with Dr. Tushar Shah today. Dr. Tushar Shah has treated about 10,000 people in these COVID times. It's our privilege to have him amongst us today. Can I call upon Rotarian Manish Shah to formally introduce Dr. Tushar Shah? Manish?
Thank you. Uh, it is my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Tushar Shah to our Rotary. As you all know, he is a leading doctor in fighting this COVID pandemic since the beginning of it in March 2020. In fact, he was the first one who initiated to educate people about COVID through SMS and YouTube videos, along with his dedicated team of 80 doctors in Mumbai and all over India. Dr. Tushar Shah himself has treated thousands of patients at their home. I am one of them, and 600 plus patients in hospital. He's been working relentlessly for 18 hours a day from the set of COVID pandemic. He will tell us today about the latest development in fighting COVID. Then the floor will be open for question and answers. Well, that is about his first profession, or his lawful wife as he calls it. His second wife or mistress is literature. Early in his school days, he discovered a passion for humor and poetry. This led him to write two books, Meri Kuch Hashya Kavitaएं, an anthology of humorous quotes related to medicine titled Prescription Laughs. He was a finalist on the very popular TV show, The Great Indian Laughter Challenge 2 on Star 1. He is also a stand-up comedian and has performed alone or have accompanied artists like Sonu Nigam, Shreya Ghoshal in India and all over the world. He is also passionate about medical teaching. For last many years, through medium of SMS and WhatsApp, he is running a quiz program every month or so for medical practitioners to upgrade their knowledge of recent medical research and treatment to ultimate benefit patients at large. He also teaches students of MBBS in fun way by taking them on weekends to Lonavala and Pune. He conducts a quiz program called QED for doctors and non-doctors under banner of PI once every year in India and abroad. He is an avid reader and has interest in art and history. During winter months, he conducts a walking tour of old South Mumbai on Sundays. Whenever I meet him, it reminds me ad of Seagram, make it larger than life, and that is Dr. Tushar Shah. Friends, I will ask Dr. Tushar Shah to tell us about COVID and how to overcome it. Welcome, Dr. Tushar Shah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Manish bhai. I must tell all of you that Manish and me, we form a mutual admiration society. So you can ignore most of his comments. And I will start with, of course, we are talking about the second wave of COVID, which is the topic I think for today. Please modify according to what you think should be my subject of. So Smita Ben, you can tell me what exactly you want me to talk about, and of course, a lot of questions and answers will be there, which I hope to answer. Yeah, so I'll first talk about the second wave and what exactly is the second wave. What are we talking about here? As you know, the Wuhan virus caused the first wave across the world. Then the virus changed its shape, so to speak, and mutants or variants came into being. Variants were viruses with some mutations in their structure so that they could become more infective. One of the first important mutants was in what is called the UK variant. And then we had the South African variant, the Brazilian variant, multiple variants within the USA, and now variants within India. Within India also, probably there are more than one variants. So, and variants will keep happening. The variant that has troubled us since mid-February or March first week is the variant that we popularly call the double mutant. or we call it B1617, 1617, I like to call it. And this mutant, this variant, which is affecting currently a majority of patients in Maharashtra and probably all across the country. This variant is notorious. We all know that it is notorious in that it is more infective, meaning each person can infect multiple people. The R number, that is one person infects how many, is called the R number. The R number used to be 2 or 3 for the Wuhan variant. Now it is probably 5 to 15 for the current variants in India. So each person can infect multiple people. That is the infectivity which is risen. The virulence has risen. The virulence meaning the ability to cause more serious diseases called virulence. The virulence of the virus has increased, and this virulence means that more patients get seriously ill and go to the hospital, become hypoxic, meaning they develop low oxygen. That is the second action of this variant. The third major difference in this variant is that it causes affection of younger people in a more serious manner. Now, this is one of the most bothersome things that we have seen. People between the ages of 30 and 45 are affected more severely, and we have seen patients going to the ICU, go on ventilators in this age group. This of course is a difference from last time when it was chiefly people above the age of 50 or 60 who would become seriously ill. So this is the third major, the infectivity, the virulence, and the affection of younger people. The fourth thing that has been seen with this virus, this second wave virus, is that children are being affected. Initially also children were affected, but they were usually asymptomatic. Currently a small percentage of children get symptomatic disease. So Wadia Hospital, which is in Mumbai, and it's a pediatric hospital, that has experienced absolute shortage of bed because of affection of children. So these are the various variations. Medically speaking, when we see patients in this second wave, we see a few variations in the clinical presentation. Symptoms are a little different. For example, some patients will have more cold or blocked nose or runny nose than before. Some patients will have red eyes, which were not there so frequently seen previously. Some patients will have more rash than previously seen. So these are the presentation features which are sometimes different. We also see more severity on the CT scan. We used to see CT scan severity scores of 10 to 15 fairly commonly, but uncommonly we used to see CT severity scores of 15 to 20. Severity score is out of 25. And we are now seeing many scores which are more than 15. So clinically, the patients become hypoxic earlier. Hypoxia means low oxygen earlier. CT scans were not as good as they used to be. So these are the various variations. And one very important thing that we have noticed recently is that when the patients seem to get cured, but after a few days, a few of them, very, very few of them, they come back with fever and low oxygen. And this is very troublesome for us because we cannot really predict. The predictability of the virus has reduced. Now that is very uncomfortable for any treating physician when we can't predict what happens next. That becomes a very uncomfortable situation. These are various changes that the second wave has brought about, and a few things about the vaccination part and the immunity part. The immunity due to the previous infection, suppose you have had infection or in the wave, so that immunity still works for the second wave. That is the most heartening aspect. Partially or fully, we don't know, probably partially. But if you had immunity in the past, then infection in the past, then today your chances of getting infection by the second wave virus is less. So we are not seeing many recurrences of infection. Uh, those who have got infection in the past, second COVID is uncommon. And in my thousands of patients, I can count on my fingertips the number of patients who have had a second infection. Now, this is a heartening thing. This is a good thing, I think, that is happening, even though the virus is a little different. On the other hand, which is an unfortunate thing, is that those who have had 2 doses of the vaccine and they have crossed 15 days after the second dose, Covishield or Covaxin, they are still prone to infection, though probably milder. Now, that means that the vaccine does not give as much protection as a previous infection. Now, there's a very important thing to note. The vaccines, 2 doses, do not, I think, this is my opinion, we will know more about this. The vaccine, full dose vaccination does not give as much protection as the first wave infection is still giving. Now, this is a very important thing. And that means natural infection gives more immunity, even though it puts you at risk in the first place. So another point that is important to make is the vaccination centers are a huge source of infection. I think after local trains, when they were on, vaccination centers were the most important source of getting infected because of the crowds at the vaccination center. Now, that is a tragedy that unfolded, and that somebody has to take the blame for that, but nobody will. In fact, I just heard that I think a court in Karnataka or somewhere, High Court has taken a public interest litigation against the government for mishandling of vaccination centers. Now, this is a huge problem. Vaccine centers have given a lot of COVID to people, and that makes people not go to centers, and that is a tragedy. Vaccination is a must. Now they are trying various modes like drive-through vaccination, etc. I hope we get less and less crowds in vaccination centers soon. Unfortunately, of course, vaccines are in short supply, so I don't know where our vaccination program is going. But the hope that herd immunity will come through vaccination, that hope is diminishing significantly. Why will herd immunity be a problem? One, vaccination will be incomplete. And herd immunity, remember, for an airborne disease like COVID, it requires at least 80% of the population to become immune to give herd immunity. Herd immunity means immunity which will protect the whole population, even if 80% have immunity. So herd immunity remains, due to vaccination, that remains a distant dream. However, what will happen, unfortunately, what will happen, I think, is that the variants are causing so much infection, so rapid spread, that herd immunity might come due to the variant rather than due to the vaccine. Now, that will be a tragedy because this will be at a cost of so much hospitalization that that it will be sad. But that is what is happening now. A little unlocking, the incidence will rise. A little unlocking is needed for the incidence to rise. Full lockdowns are not going to happen, because I don't think the government is going to take that risk for migrants again to have problems to go back. I don't think the government wants to have more economic losses. And there are arguments to both sides, but medically, as a doctor, I see suffering. Therefore, I do wish that the lockdowns would be, even the current lockdown, as you can see when you go on the streets, is very, very partial. So except maybe local trains and public transport, we have seen that the lockdown is not very effective. So I do feel that the waves will keep on coming. So this was a tsunami, and then there'll be small waves, small waves, small waves. So my recommendation to my patients, those people who listen to me, is that don't depend on the lockdown by others, lockdown imposed by the government authorities. Go on into a lockdown yourself. and you can easily regret not doing that. We get bored, we get depressed, and we meet people. I think your bubble has to be small, very, very small bubble. Still, even now, though the cases are declining, your bubble has to remain small. You can't be careless because you can actually cause the death of your near and dear ones. This is happening every day. This is happening, and I wish that that should not happen. We are recording 60, 70, 80, 90 deaths in Mumbai every day. This is just, I think, 1/10 of the actual deaths that occur every day. Even the number of cases that are reported are approximately 1/10 or less than what actually happened. And if 350, 400,000 deaths are cases are occurring in India every day, 4 lakh cases are recorded every day. That means at least 40 lakh cases are happening every day in India. So the incidence is large. The burden on the healthcare system is huge. So yeah, the last thing that I want to say is that all of us should help the people who need our help. And that is the, of course, you're Rotary, so you know about helping others. But I think the proactiveness that we should have now of helping others has to be unprecedented. It has to be as never before. You have to help everybody, from your watchman in the building to your dhobi to your workers, everybody. You have to keep this in mind. How many people have helped today? We are in a privileged position, money wise, and we have to give a lot. We have to give what we have never given before in our full life. We have to give now because the situation demands it. Well, I think this is all I want to say, but uh, I think question answers will bring out more in what you want me to tell you. Over to you.
So I have a question. Tushar bhai, my name is Zamir Vanvati, and I had COVID in the last week of March. Fortunately, it wasn't very severe. It was a very mild, and my reports and my CT scan on my lung were all clear. Uh, I got out of the hospital on the 4th of April, and the doctor at the hospital specifically said that I must take my vaccine on the 15th or 16th of May. My family doctor, on the other hand, says that you must take a test called the neutralizing spiked bodies test to know what your antibodies are before you can actually go and take the vaccine. What is your advice, sir?
Yeah, based on what you heard me say before, I believe infection gives more immunity than the vaccine. If you are infected in the second wave, meaning March onwards, I would say consider yourself equal to or better than those fully vaccinated. So you do not take the vaccine. You do not take any dose of the vaccine. And if you ask me, should I take it after 3 months? Think of this: you are equal to other people who have taken the vaccine. Do the other people who have taken 2 vaccines ask you कि अभी 3 महीने के बाद लूंगा कि 6 महीने के बाद लूंगा? No, nobody asks, nobody knows, right? So
Right.
you have to consider yourself equal to or better than those vaccinated fully. So I am repeating, you have been lucky in that you got away with mild COVID, and if you got away with that, take advantage of that by sparing the vaccine for other people who need it. You don't need the vaccine. We are in short supply. We must leave the vaccine for others.
And what about the neutralizing antibodies, spiked antibodies test?
Okay, I'll just give you a basic concept of antibodies so that you understand what because there are several antibody tests available. The basic concept: infection causes antibodies, vaccine causes antibodies. The antibodies are a little different in each situation. The vaccine causes antibodies which are called spike protein antibodies. Spike proteins are basically proteins on the Hanuman ki gada. That Hanuman
Yeah,
ki gada is a golakar,
yeah,
and
right.
on top of the Hanuman gada, often in Ram Leela, there is a decorative spike.
Yes.
right? In the virus, there is this Hanuman ki Gada, which is a sphere, and then there are multiple decorative spikes instead of one spike. The sphere, the central portion is called the nucleocapsid region. Let us call it N. The central portion is N, and the spike portion is S. Now, the spike portion causes antibody formation. The central portion causes antibody formation. So we have two types of antibodies, the antibodies to the S, antibodies to the N. Infected people get antibodies to both because they have been exposed to both. Those vaccinated with Covishield is made up of spike protein. Those vaccinated with Covishield will develop antibodies only to spike protein. And those vaccinated with Covaxin is a whole virus, they will get antibodies to both S and N, the sphere and the spikes. So your antibody testing will depend on what is your status. If it is after infection, you have to test what is called as COVID antibodies, which will give you the N. And if you are vaccinated, you will do S, antibodies to spike protein. Right?
Hello.
I've asked a question. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
One question.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. First of all, I'm Manish Bayani. You treated my brother Dinesh Bayani.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I have two questions. Number one is, suppose you have got first vaccine, then you got COVID. What about the second vaccination? Are you supposed to take it within time frame, or how much time you should wait?
The answer remains the same. The COVID infection means you are fully vaccinated. So how much time you wait will be the same as how much time other people are going to do short.
Oh, okay.
You have to consider yourself equal to fully vaccinated people. Some people say 3 months, WHO even says up to 6 months you will be protected. We have seen protected for 1 year, those who got in last March or April, are still protected, right? So can you determine how much protected you are? But I'll tell you something which is very unusual. Those who have antibodies, they are 40 in value or 250 in value, they are probably not different from each other. So if you tell me, okay, my value is 30 and it used to be 60, should I do the vaccination? I don't know, but I don't think so. 30 good. But if you have a vaccine and you have not had infection, you have taken the 2 shots, then many people get their antibodies done after vaccine for spike protein antibody, which shows how vaccine worked. Very good level, say 250 in that spike protein antibody, and still you can get second wave infection, which we have seen. So antibody titers, even very good, do not fully protect you. Fully protect, but it will give enough protection to prevent severe disease and hospitalization. That's the thought that is likelihood you may not get bad action if you have taken the. Over to you.
Hello.
Yeah, Bhayani.
Yeah. Second question. We are something like the second vaccine. We've got the first one. Second, within they say 45 to 60 days. But with the shortage around, suppose that 60 days doesn't happen and the time gets extended. Is it okay, or what should be a line of action?
So when Covishield was tested in the UK, in the initial trials of AstraZeneca, when this vaccine was tested, some people were given vaccine at the interval of 12 weeks and it was found to be still effective. So I think is 12 weeks, second shot. That is the current knowledge.
Yeah, so it's not necessary. Hello? I think, hello? No, I think there's some signal issues.
I don't
Hello?
know whether it's right. Can you hear me?
No, I think there's a problem with the signal. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll connect to my phone, I think better.
Yeah, so just complicated. If you have taken one shot of, say, Covishield, the second shot should be ideally at 28 days. Even though the company may say take it at 8 weeks, 12 weeks, ideally 28 days. And if you can't get the shot at 28 days, you can extend it a little bit, but the outer limit is 6 weeks. 3 months is the outer limit of the second shot. Of course, the later you take the second shot, the more gap means that you have greater chance of getting the infection within this 3-month gap, which is not a good thing to happen.
Okay, so you say within maximum 3 months, max.
Maximum. But
Thank you.
28 days is ideal.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Rajiv.
Dr. Tushar, I got corona way in August, mid-August somewhere I was infected, and I have taken Covishield in the first week of April. Do I still hold the immunity like what you said? The one who is infected has a better immunity, or at par or better? Do I need to take the second dose, or I can just skip it?
So my first statement was somebody who's gotten infected in the second wave should not take the vaccine.
Okay.
Those who have gotten infection in the first wave, we are in a dilemma. We don't know. Should we test the antibodies, see the antibodies, and then decide, or should we take the vaccine? We don't know. But if you have had infection and you've taken one dose, you might avoid the second dose by first checking your antibody level. If your antibody level is excellent, then you might not take the second dose. Now, what is the harm in taking? Everybody is asking me, why can't you take? If it is available, why don't you take the second dose or both doses? Now, we do believe that multiple vaccines are going to come. Russian vaccine, Chinese vaccine, probably Pfizer, Moderna, multiple vaccines are coming in the next several months. You will have a choice. And how many are you going to take? You take 2 Covishield now. 3 months ke baad you get a very good vaccine from Russia. You will take that 2 shots of Russian vaccine. And then you will get Moderna, which is a very good vaccine. And you will take how many vaccines are you going to take? We don't know how this plays in the body. We really don't know. So I would say conserve vaccination for others, because we are in short supply. People like you who survived COVID, did well, are lucky, and you can use that luck to spare the vaccine for others.
Exactly. That was my point. Like, to conserve the vaccine, can I avoid the second one?
So I would say, in your place, I would do the antibody test, and in your situation, I have to do the N and S antibodies both.
Okay. I'm right now in Bhavnagar, in Gujarat, so I'll only, I think Red Cross does it, so I can ask N and S, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Every lab, unfortunately, has very different terminologies for these antibodies. Some call it COVID Protect if it is after vaccination. Some call it post-vaccination IgG. Some call it this and that. Just tell them that I want both against nucleocapsid N antigen and against S antigen.
Okay, N and S antigen both. Okay. Can I mix my vaccines like we were just discussing? I've taken COVID shield in 1st of April. Now, second dose, I'm conserving right now for the other people. I'm not going to, I don't plan to take it. But in future, whenever I decide to take it or it is easily available, should I mix or should I not?
Are you a loyal person generally?
I I don't know. Depends on the situation.
Do you use Colgate in the morning and Dabur in the night?
No, I use only one brand all the time.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm just joking, but we don't know. The answer to that question, we don't know. There are trials actually going on with Covishield and Pfizer in UK. One shot Covishield, one shot Pfizer. Nobody knows. We are still in a very stage of knowledge.
You had also explained that Covishield has one kind of a protection and Covaxin has both M and S protection. So from that perspective, I was thinking.
So So on paper, a whole virus vaccine seems to be better than a spike protein vaccine. On paper, that seems to be the better idea. But the best vaccine currently in the world, Pfizer and Moderna, most effective vaccines in the world, are not whole virus vaccines. It's only the spike protein, right?
Okay.
So we don't know. My vaccine has been shaken by the fact that it is a politically promoted vaccine. That is politically promoted loses trust as far as concerned. A lot of media few months, and that is something I'm very uncomfortable with. As you know, it is promoted by ICMR. It's a Bharat Biotech ICMR joint research, ICMR being a government body, and there is such a lot of spin. And Republic TV पे इंटरव्यू आएगा और ये होएगा वो होएगा. Republic TV पे कुछ भी आता है तो भरोसा नहीं कर सकते, right? So that kind of thing vaccine. You cannot trust vaccine very much. I'm hoping it is a very important vaccine. I still do not have enough data to tell you that it is a better vaccine.
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, Doctor, hi, this is Sahil Mehra. Doctor, I wanted to know, after, my dad had COVID, my sister had COVID, and my cousin brother had COVID, all of them have still not, come up to the mark of their normal, healthy lifestyle. Like they still feel we have 60% energy or 70% energy despite having COVID some couple of months back, and my sister still keeps on getting fever even at this point, even after 1.5 months after the COVID. 99 tak jata hai uska bukhar.
I'll just something long COVID, LONG, long COVID, or they have different names for this syndrome, long COVID, etc. Long COVID means basically after the virus has gone in your body, theoretically and practically speaking, you still are left behind with symptoms. Symptoms are seemingly minor, not that you get very severe breathlessness requiring oxygen, but you get chest pains, you get need to take deep breaths intermittently, you get problems, lack of mental and physical efficiency. So many things become part of long COVID. And why does this occur? What are the mechanisms of this long COVID? Nobody knows still. We are still looking for it. But this is very unusual. It causes a lot of things that we are still to find out about. So long COVID is a problem. Long COVID unfortunately has no, we have nothing to patient except and long COVID has been treated by various medications. Some people even have given antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications. Homeopathy is tried, everything is tried, and I don't think there is any cure except time. Most people get better with time. most people have disappearance of the long COVID symptoms with time. But we have known cases which have, for 1 year, patients feel completely inefficient at work after COVID. So that is one more reason why I keep telling people. Several people say कि एक बार हो जाए ना चलेगा, COVID हो जाए तो चलेगा, कुछ problem नहीं है. I tell them you have to see the suffering of people for months together to know, okay, you may not get hospitalized, you will not die, but you can get suffering for even a simple thing like loss of smell can stay for months, and you can imagine how troublesome loss of is. So I think COVID is best prevented rather than suffered. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what about
One-
sorry.
Dr. Shah, I have a question.
Yeah, chef.
Yes. So this is, I'm not going to take a consultation here. I'm going to ask you something more about the COVID as the disease itself. That we being a supreme race, we know so much. We've gone to the moon, Mars, wherever else, and here is one virus which has kind of defeated all of us, all our defenses, and brought us back to Earth. Please tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do we know about this disease? I mean, 10 being that we know a lot, and 1 being we know nothing. How much are we being made guinea pigs
I
of?
lost on a scale of 1. I lost, sorry, Harsh, I lost your last
Sorry, I
two
think I have
sentences.
some network issues. So my question was, on a scale of 1
On a
to
scale of 1 to 10.
how much do we know of this disease? How aware are we? How much are we being made guinea pigs of this? Are we being experimented on with these various vaccines, or we know a lot about it, doctor? Where do we stand as far as knowledge goes?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah. So first of all, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you know about the virus? Let us take that question. On a scale of 1 to 10, we know about 6 of what the virus does to us. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do we know about disease? I would say 3. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the other part? I think you are, I thought that you are a skeptic. I also have some belief in conspiracy theories, that there are some people who have that, and you might be one of those. But I can admit that the experiment part, how many people, how are we experimenting upon, it is one of the tragedies of medical practice. This part, the vaccine is not an experiment upon us. I don't believe that. I think the vaccine is the only road to victory of virus. There is no other road to victory over the virus. Whether the vaccine will win or the virus will win, we don't know. But the virus currently has the upper hand. Whether the actual, what are we being experimented upon is a tragedy. We are being experimented upon by people who treat you, people who treat the patient. They are that is happening. And that is one of the biggest tragedies of this whole thing, a tragedy that is under recognized. You have been upon by hydroxychloroquine, by doxycycline, by azithromycin, by ivermectin, by methylene blue, by inhalers, by this, that you have been experimented upon by these things. And that is the experiment where that comes out of ignorance of those treating you, whether they are doctors, whether they are quacks, whether they are just people hungry for those 15 minutes of fame. Those are the people experimenting upon you. And the shoddy treatment that is going on in the name of COVID therapy is one of the biggest tragedies of this whole pandemic. I can
Thank
go on
you,
about
doctor.
this for a long time.
Not a skeptic, complete optimist. Got my second vaccine today. So absolute optimist, and I hope that this.
I stand corrected. Okay.
So I have a question.
Hi.
Azamir.
Sorry. Just one question. How much do multivitamins have a role to play in your getting well and back to normal?
So, one important principle of treating COVID that is being used by many is kuch to dena chahiye na. Something should be given, and in that thing, something should be given. Vitamins are the best. Should be given, should not include antibiotics, should not include Fabif, include ivermectin, doxycycline. Something should be given so that you are satisfied that the doctor is not leaving it on your own body completely, which is actually the thing to do. Then you are given vitamins. My standard prescription is a B complex vitamin, vitamin D, and an active form of vitamin D. So this is my standard. We call it placebo, if you like, or we just say that something has to be done. Now, the most important vitamin, though, if there is any important vitamin, is vitamin D. Vitamin D is known to reduce severity of viral respiratory infections. Those who have vitamin D level plus, their lesser severe infection than those who have
Doctor, we seem to have lost you.
I think he's lost his connection.
Yeah, I think so. But he's there, he's online. Maybe just reconnect.
He's offline. He's
He's
out
offline?
of the room. Yeah, he's out of the
Can you
He's joined in. He has joined, rejoined.
Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me? Smitaji, can you hear me?
Yes, Tushar bhai.
Okay, I'm logging in from another instrument. This was about the vitamins. So vitamin D, I think, is the most important vitamin. I give my patients 60,000 units of vitamin D every month, once a month at least. And those who have not taken vitamin D in the last 1 year, I tell them to take 8 doses of vitamin D, one every day, not once a week, one every day, so that they are replenished quickly during this pandemic. Sorry.
Yeah, good evening, Doc.
Hi.
Hi, just a quick question. We've seen, I've seen some instances where people are asymptomatic and at that time they are vaccinated. After that, they don't realize that they are asymptomatic and then they are vaccinated. And we've seen some, the health getting deteriorated. Now, because when you are going for vaccination, you are not getting test for your COVID testing is not done. So basically, you just get vaccinated and we've seen few people who were actually, are not coping up well and actually they lose their health. So, like, what do you have to say on this?
What you are implying is that those who have had infection, if asymptomatic infection,
they're currently having infection and they don't know about it.
ongoing infection, ongoing mild or asymptomatic infection, and
Yeah.
then they get vaccinated, they worsen in their infection or COVID. I disagree with that. I do not have any science or evidence for that kind of thing, where a vaccine induces worsening of current COVID infection. I don't think so. That is one. But you may have seen somebody. Sometimes, we call them anecdotes. Anecdotes are not science. Anecdotes are just anecdotes. They are examples which cannot become science. Uh, it's like, Gujarat na doctor, they Surat ke doctors, they give methylene blue, and one of their patients get better, and then they use that anecdote as scientific evidence that this is methylene blue is effective. That kind of. I'm very anti methylene blue, just so that you know. I'm anti many things, but methylene blue I'm fiercely anti about. So, but about the other part, you have touched upon a very important topic. I have recently announced on my Instagram, etc., is that if you have not had COVID in the second wave, but if you are between the age of 18 and 45, where the vaccination has been opened up, if you can afford it, do COVID antibodies against the N antigen, do COVID antibodies. If incidentally you are antibody positive, meaning that you had mild or asymptomatic infection which went unnoticed, then you may save the vaccine for others. I'll repeat this because this is very, very important, and this will not be recommended by others because this is a controversial or a debatable area. As I said, I believe that if you get infection in the second wave, you don't need vaccination. This is fairly clear. Nobody disputes that. I believe that youngsters have been affected majorly. No dispute there also. I believe that the virus is so infective that many youngsters, because youngsters move out more, are already infected between the ages of 18 and 45, where vaccination has recently been opened up. And if they can, because it costs money, if they can afford it, they should do the antibody test. So currently you are debating whether your son who's going to college should take the vaccine. All of you are thinking about that. Get their antibody tested. If the antibody is present, don't vaccinate them. Save the vaccine for other people. Yeah.
Also, just a couple of days back, one of my daughter's friend, he's above 18 or 20 years of age, and he got vaccinated. And on the same day, when he got vaccinated in the evening, in the night, he became breathless. So emergency SOS, they took a call a doctor, and he did something, and then he was okay. But when we hear cases like this, sometimes you get scared. Basically, even for the youngsters, whether it is recommended to give the doses or not.
Yeah. Okay. So side effects wise, I'll tell you what could have happened to him. He must have developed.
He became breathless.
I'm telling you what could have happened which caused the breathlessness. He probably had an allergic reaction. We call it an anaphylactic reaction, which can cause wheezing or breathlessness, etc. So, and they usually give steroids or similar drugs to cure that breathlessness. This is an allergic reaction, and in fact, you must tell that boy not to take the second dose. So that is an allergic reaction, which is not common. You get commonly redness, pain, fever is common. But the most important side effect of vaccine is not the side effect of vaccine, but the side effect of vaccination centers. The most important problem is getting the virus from the centers along with the vaccine. It comes as a package, virus plus vaccine. You get both together from the vaccination center. And that is what we have to avoid. And for that, the most important thing is vaccinate yourself if you need to. But double mask when you go there, wear gloves when you go there, take a hand sanitizer when you go there. Don't remove the mask to talk, to drink water, to eat. Do not do anything that causes the mask to come down. That is extremely important. And if you go to the vaccine center and if you see a crowd of 500 people, return. It is not worth going into that crowd with 3 hours of waiting and take the vaccine. Return. you can always go back some other time and see that there is no crowd. This is very, very important. We must not take the virus from the vaccination center. Another important side effect, which has been described in young and old, and due to which UK said that Covishield should not be used in those below the age of 30. Another side effect, which is a one in few lakh side effect, is clotting in the veins of the body, especially clotting in the veins of the brain. Covishield. And this side effect is seen also in the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the US that has started, will come to India soon. So this vaccine side effect, 1 in 1 million is the current statistic, but I do suspect that it will be a few in 1 million side effect. This side effect causes clotting in the veins, almost never causes death, and it is a troublesome side effect for sure, but it is something that is part and parcel of the vaccination program. You know that polio vaccine can cause polio, for example. Now, you don't stop polio vaccine because it causes polio. Similarly, rare side effects are to be expected. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Vinita.
When do you think we will be free from, when will all this finish? When will we be back to normal? What do you?
One thing that brings hope is the fact that all pandemics end.
Right.
Historically, all pandemics have ended. Whether it took 3 years for the Spanish flu in the early 20th century or 5 years for bubonic plague previously, all pandemics come to an end. The important thing is our lives should not come to an end with the pandemic. So we have to protect ourselves, do whatever it takes to protect yourself during the pandemic. And this too shall pass, as they say.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Doctor, I have a question. I took a vaccine 10 days back. 10 days prior to, I got a massive stroke, and when they did the angio, all my arteries were 100% open. There was not even zero. There is a zero blockage. So doctor was surprised, and even I'm surprised. And I asked him, is it because of the vaccine? He said it could be possible. It was a Covishield that I had taken. So can you throw some light on that?
Second.
Yeah, just a second. Yeah. If you have some detail, you can tell me whether it was a venous infarct. You said it was brain stroke, right? Brain stroke?
There was a heart attack, sorry. There was a massive heart attack.
Heart stroke, okay. It was a heart attack. And did your pumping become less after the heart attack, if I may ask?
Yeah, my pumping has gone down to only 30% right now.
Okay. So it was a heart attack and you did not find any clots or any blockages in the arteries on angiography, as you said?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So can this be due to you had COVID how many days prior?
Sorry?
You said you had COVID 2 days prior or the vaccine?
I took the vaccine 10 days prior to this.
Okay. So
I didn't, so far I've not had COVID, but I took vaccine 10 days prior to this.
So most likely I would say no, it was not due to the vaccine, because the vaccine, if it causes clots, it chiefly causes clots in veins, not arteries. What supplies the heart and causes heart attacks are arteries. The veins are those in the legs, like deep vein thrombosis after long flights. The veins are chiefly affected in complications of COVID also, and in complications of the vaccine also. So I would say probably not. But how do you prove or disprove it? We don't know.
Yeah, because I asked the doctor, doctor doesn't know what could be the reason, because all arteries are 100% open. So he said this could be one of the reasons, but he's not sure. Can I go for the second dose from, it's already 3 weeks. So what do you suggest for the second dose? I've already done one, and now waiting to get the second dose done.
If I were you, I would not take the second dose. because of the remote possibility that this was vaccine induced. Very remote possibility. But I would not take the second dose. I would put on my masks for 1 year if necessary.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm already taking those precautions. And anyway, thank you, doctor. I appreciate it.
We have a question, Raji.
Yeah, Dr. Shah, just one more question. Do the antibodies in a human body, human blood, have an expiry date or something like that? After 5 months or after 1 year, they will not be existing anymore?
Yeah, so different vaccines have different lengths of protection. For example, if you know there is an influenza vaccine. Influenza vaccine is an annual vaccine, meaning you have to take it annually because the antibodies don't work after 1 year, chiefly because the virus changes its shape and size. Similarly, you have to take tetanus. You know, there's a tetanus tox or a tetanus vaccine that has a duration of 10 years. You have to take a tetanus shot every 10 years if you have to keep on kind of being protected. So every vaccine will have a different time frame. Similarly, we are expecting COVID vaccine to have a time frame of few months, and you will have to probably take a new vaccine every year or so, like the influenza vaccine.
Okay. All right. So I have to keep testing my antibodies every 6 months or so, whether they are still in existence or not. Anybody, any human being has to do that, right?
Yourselves, please, everybody.
Yeah. Any other question?
I just want to ask one more question, doctor. I just want to find out. They are saying about the third wave. Is the third wave a true fact or is just a fake news?
What will happen in the future cannot be used, so it cannot be fake news. But third wave is more a likelihood than a non-likelihood. Third wave, what is a third wave? Third wave basically means when you stop the lockdown, there will be a rise in cases. Would you call it a third wave? What will you call it? Anything that will happen after the lockdown has ended, after local trains are restarted, that may be called the third wave. So the waves are basically due to waves. Waves are
Can the host mute these people, please?
Hello? What are the causes of these waves? The most important cause of the wave is unlocking. Are we going to unlock? We are going to unlock. That will cause a wave. The second most important cause of wave is variants, mutations. Third most important cause of the wave is lack of herd immunity. If there is no herd immunity, if mutations keep happening, and if unlocking keeps happening, you will continue to get wave after wave after wave. The wave may be the small waves or maybe large waves like this one, depending on multiple factors. Yeah, so expect waves. As I am saying, this can last 3 years, for example. And in these 3 years, it will be all waveforms. I think 2021, you should be mentally prepared that 2021 is all COVID. You have to be mentally prepared for that, financially prepared for that, socially prepared for that. 2021 is all COVID. And hopefully, if vaccination kicks in, if multiple vaccines arrive in India and a large population is vaccinated by end of this year, hopefully it will become a very, very small number next year. But this year is COVID year.
So Yes. Yeah. Tushar bhai, any more questions, guys? Yes.
Yes,
I have a
I have
question.
one question.
Okay, last question, guys.
Tushar bhai, I have one question for you.
Yes, please.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
In between your two careers as a actor as well as a doctor, which would you prefer in this time of crisis?
Uh, I'll answer this seriously because this is a good question. And so, all of us, maybe once in our lifetime, we will get a chance to do something meaningful. And we doctors have got this chance this time. And we need to prove that we will be worthy of being physicians or being doctors. Who gets such a chance? Who gets such a chance of using their knowledge for the benefit of millions? Nobody gets that chance like we have got. So currently, I'm glad that I'm a physician. The comedy part is a. I just saw your message. I think you will have to wait in the lockdown. I'm sure that after this pandemic is over, the comedy part will take over and reflect on this very humorously. But for the moment, we are all doctors, are all physicians, and the passion that we can work with, the passion that is encouraged by the need of the people, that passion keeps us going. Even though we are working a lot, the passion keeps us going because we have a chance to help.
Thank you.
Tushar bhai, hats off and salute to all the doctors, all of you all, the way you all have dealt with this pandemic, and selflessly you guys work for so that we can get all the possible medical facilities. Hats off to you all and salute to all of you all. Thank you so much, Tushar bhai, for coming over here today and answering all our questions. These are uncertain times, and all of us have so many questions, so many queries, and they keep bothering us all the time. And thank you so much for answering them for us.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Sahil?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Sahil,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Both of
Yeah,
time.
Dr. Tushar Shah, it was a very wonderful interactive session. You answered all our questions very patiently. But I would request few humorous lines from you because we have seen you in the media from such a long time कि खाली आप serious अच्छे नहीं दिखते. थोड़ा कुछ flavor होना चाहिए आपका खुद का original taste. So we would expect कि आप 2 लाइन कुछ बोल दीजिए जिससे सब पे चेहरे पे हंसी आ जाए वापस.
Okay. एक छोटा सा चुटकुला समझ लीजिए. हम जैसे मैंने कहा, हम मेडिकल प्रैक्टिस में भी काफी सारा ह्यूमर ढूंढ पाते हैं और एक बहुत अच्छा सोर्स है फॉर ह्यूमर आवर मेडिकल प्रैक्टिस. तो एक दिन हमारी रिसेप्शनिस्ट है, वो एक मरीज से फोन पे बात कर रही थी. मिस्टर मेहरा, मैं समझ गई आपको क्या हो रहा है और कहाँ हो रहा है. डॉक्टर शाह ने कितनी बार मना किया है कि पाइल्स का मलम और टाइगर बाम बाजू बाजू में ना रखा करें. तो ये ऐसे ही ह्यूमर आते हैं. थैंक यू
सर. आपका तो मतलब कैच भी ऐसा था कि जो आपसे रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा था वो भी हंसे नहीं हंसे, वो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है.
आप म्यूट पे थे.
नहीं, good. And I would also like to thank Mr. Rajiv Shah and Dr. Priyam for arranging such a wonderful Zoom session for RCBB. And I would request Smita ji to take over from here.
Thank you, Tushar bhai. Tejal, can I request you for the secretarial announcement?
Hello, everyone. There were 69 logins today. The next meeting is on the 14th of May. It is Zahabia Kurakala. And on the 21st, we have Dr. Murad Lala. Thank you.
Smita, I have a small announcement. Can I make it?
Yeah, sure. Yes, Ankur.
Hi, I believe all of us, we had about 60 participants in our contest. Karthik, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. So for the Biggest Loser Challenge, which concluded on 30th of April, we had 60 participants. And in all 60 participants, we lost about 120 kgs, which is a phenomenal effort that is there. And the team, we had 6 teams of 10 each, and the team led by Smita, Calorie Shredders was the name, lovely name that is there. They won the prize because they lost the maximum weight. The team members include, of course, Smita, Vikas Sutaria, Rajni Parasya, Dinesh Sharma, Ritu Kabra, Ripa Jasani, Yasir Fateh, Sanjay Shah, Pavan Barasya, and Neeta Shah. And we also had prizes for individual weight losses within the teams that are there. So that was, of course, led by Karthik Desai. He was too excited. That's why he left himself on mute from before only. So Karthik Desai left 5.6 kgs, followed by Yasir by 5.5 kgs, Jitin 5.4 kgs. Yatish did a phenomenal job with 3.8 kgs. Remember, he was stuck at home for quarantine. Tejal Damani 3.75 kgs and Juja Razdanwala 2.2 kgs. All of them. We've covered the sports team. Thanks to Smita has ensured that they have sent them a meal package for today, which will cover up for all the weight loss that they've done in the past 1 month. That is there. Yeah, and a big thank you to Harsh. People have so if all the weight putting on is come, for all that the guilt factors to go to Harsh and not to me, because he's the one who sent the food. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
The Biggest Loser challenge was a fantastic challenge. 1 month of fellowship and bonding. Great job, sports team. Superb. Ankur, great job.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Now adjourned. And the calorie shredders and all the people who've got the hampers are going to enjoy this meal.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Very good meeting.
Excellent meeting.
Yeah, very nice and very informative.
What do you say?
Very nice. Dr. Tushar Shah was really good with everything. So,
he was really
and
patient.
he took the patience to answer everyone's questions.
Everybody's private consulting was done.
I would